Mabuhay, or in Kapampangan, luid kayo. October is Filipino-American History Month because, according to history, the first people from the Philippines to ever set foot in what would become the United States were the Luzon Indios, who landed in Morro Bay back in October 18, 1587. But what exactly happened back in October 18 of 1587? How much do we really know about this historic moment? At number 1, the most popular belief or urban legend that I have personally heard from people around me was that the first Filipinos in America, or the Luzon Indios of Morro Bay, were slaves who jumped off the Spanish ships and ended up in California. Or that they were simply slaves sailing with Pedro de Unamuno, a Spanish explorer, in his expedition to discover the northern coast of California. But is that really it? Who were these Luzon Indios? What do we know about them? At number 2, there was at least 8 Luzon Indios in Pedro de Unamuno's expedition when they landed in Northern California. But sadly, there are no surviving records of their exact names, or at least none that I'm aware of. But because primary sources recorded them simply as Luzon Indios, I can argue and say that they were most likely Kapampangan sailors. Because at that time, back in the 1500s and up to the 1600s, the term Luzones Indios or Luzon Indios, aka the natives of Luzon, was a term that the Spaniards used exclusively to refer to the ancestors of today's Kapampangan people. In fact, the term Kapampangan only emerged back in the 17th century to distinguish themselves from other ethnic groups who also live on the island of Luzon, whom the Spaniards later on also started calling Luzon Indios. At number 3, the Luzones Indios who sailed with Pedro de Unamuno back in 1587 were less likely a group of slaves, but more likely a group of highly skilled navigators. The Indios were actually experienced sailors, very experienced sailors, who throughout centuries has helped Spaniards cross and navigate the vast Pacific Ocean. And it is also important to note that even though the Spanish ships carried Spanish emblems and waved Spanish flags, these majestic ships, also known as Manila galleons, were actually built and made in the Philippines by the Indios and were mostly manned by the Indios themselves. As early as 1565, the Indios from the islands of the Visayas, or what is now Central Philippines, have already been helping Europeans cross the Pacific Ocean. And almost throughout the 300 years, 3 centuries of Spanish colonial period, the Spaniards relied heavily on the Kapampangan Indios of Luzon to protect and defend the islands. The Kapampangan natives of Luzon were not just part of the Spanish colonial navy, they made up the bulk of it. In fact, 3/4 of the Spanish colonial forces in the Philippines were Kapampangans, and they even won wars against the Dutch. But of course, the Spaniards got the credit. But more on that in a future video. Now back to Morro Bay. At number 4, the Luzon Indios of Morro Bay did not jump off ship to run away. They did not escape the Spanish galleons. Instead, they were sent out to make the initial contact with the Native Americans of the region. 2 Luzon Indios armed with just shields and swords were sent first to scout the area for potential danger. They were chosen to go first because of the color of their skin. The Spaniards believed that it would be easier for the Luzon Indios to interact with their fellow brown people. They thought that the indigenous people, or the Native Americans of Northern California, would be more welcoming towards brown people than towards white colonizers. And they also decided that if the initial contact exploded into violence, the lives of the Indios were practically disposable, as opposed to sending Europeans first, as opposed to risking the lives of the Spaniards first. They would rather risk the Indios first. And that, number 5, that is exactly what happened. The initial contact exploded into violence. On the 3rd day of their land exploration, the Luzon Indios were peacefully welcomed by the Native Americans. But once the Spaniards showed up, miscommunication ensued. Peaceful negotiations escalated into violence. 2 people were killed in the chaos, 1 Spaniard and 1 Luzon Indio. A javelin struck one of the Luzon Indios and he died immediately immediately he is believed to be the first Filipino to die in what is now the United States. But unfortunately, the Spanish records only mentions the name of the Spaniard who was killed, not the Indio. The Spaniards then immediately retreated and left, only to come back in the coming years to establish California as a Spanish colony and to use Northern California as a pit stop for the Manila Galleons. In the following centuries, the Spaniards once again brought Indios from the Philippines in their succeeding expeditions to establish missions and settlements throughout California. The Luzon Indios landed in Morro Bay and one was killed and buried in California 75 years before the first pilgrims arrived in Plymouth Rock in what would become the 13 colonies, before the first English-speaking settler arrived and called America their home. The Manila Galleon trade would also continue to flourish for the next 200 years, becoming the backbone of an early globalized economy. From China, the Philippines, to the Americas and Europe, millions of people relied on these Manila galleons. And these majestic galleons did not just carry commodities, they also brought with them early Indios from the Philippines who would later settle across the Americas throughout the centuries. And they would foster at least 300 years of cultural exchange and deeper connections between the diverse people of what are now the Americas and the Philippines. And that is it for me today. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help me make more videos like this, show your support and please be my patron. Takalpong salamat. See you next time on Tagalog Kita Kits, and in Kapampangan, Miki Tigs.